Hi, and first of all, let me apologize for not putting out a video for a while. I've been really focusing on a new piece of artwork. I wanted to get it done for a show coming up at the end of March, I think is when I have to have it in. So I worked, pretty hard on that. And here's the piece of artwork. It's called Dark Side of the Paper Moon. And yes, it does have a paper moon in it, and yes, it has something to do with the song Paper Moon. The show that I'm entering actually is a invitational, and this one has the theme of the American Songbook, and they wanted us to use songs from the 30s and 40s or someplace around in there, and Paper Moon came up right away in my head. That's one of my favorites out of that period, and so that's what this piece is based on. The interesting thing about this piece is the fact that there are no figures in it. There's no male nudes, there's no males clothed or otherwise, there's nobody. And I have to admit that sometimes I think those things are a little bit more successful with my work. There was one piece I did a long time ago that had just an empty sleeping bag in it, and I was really in love with that piece, and someone did buy it. And so I'll never see it again, but it is one of my favorites, and now I have another one that's kind of on the same sort of lines. Back about 2 weeks ago, I was actually thinking about when was the first time I heard electronic music or electronic instruments besides electric guitars and things like that used in music. The first time I heard someone use a synthesizer. I realized that it wasn't the Beatles, and it wasn't anything that you would think would be the first to actually use keyboard or electronic music in pop music. It was actually the Monkees on their album Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Jones Ltd. It was used in a song called Daily Nightly. And it was kind of different that I had to pull that particular CD out and listen to it. It's too bad, of course, that we heard in this last week that Davy Jones passed away. He, of course, was in the Monkees, if you don't know already, of course. And sadly, he passed away suddenly, the age of 66 years old. That's not too old, really, and certainly you don't think of any of your pop idols as being old anyway. Even if they are old, you don't think of them as being old. And so this is the album actually here. It's the CD version of it, of course. I bought many years later, and even this one's kind of broken up and things like that from me playing it, because I still do play it yet to this day. It's, I think, an important album. I think it's one that stands the test of time. Actually, back then in those days, you didn't want to ever let on that you were a Monkees fan because you'd get beat up by all the boys or whatever. Apparently, you couldn't be a fan of what was considered bubblegum music at the time. But I believed, and I still believe, and it definitely is true, that these records and this band, manufactured or not, this band was very important. And we lost an important person, and it was kind of a big shock. It was only really weird as I've gotten older. When I was a kid, of course, I never looked at the Monkees as being sex objects like, other girls my age did, It was only until I got older I kind of looked back at them going, wow, Davy Jones was cute. I'll be all danged, and so I thought that was kind of interesting. That was later on when I became a dirty old man that I realized that, hey, Davy Jones was cute, and so there you are. And this album's very much worth listening to if you're interested. Also, inside of a book that I had bought many thousands of years ago called Bubblegum Music is the Naked Truth. It's actually a history of bubblegum music. Inside this book is something that was given to me by my friend Nick Leet, who had the great pleasure of meeting Davy Jones and Mickey Dolenz many years ago, and I was lucky enough that he knew that I was a fan and got me Davy's autograph. So this means quite a lot to me, and it resides in this book basically because I felt it was safe here, and it made sense that it was in this book, because this book does cover an awful lot of This sounds weird to say, but the seriousness of bubblegum music. It was very interesting back then what bubblegum music did do, and it was very creative, and they did many things that other people got credits for, and basically got credit for because they were on this level and bubblegum music was down here, but bubblegum music was doing the same thing. It was just marketed different, that was all. That's all I've got for this video, and until next time, I'll see you soon, and if you're all up for it, look up the Monkees and give them a listen if you haven't before, and I think you'll like what you find. It's very interesting stuff, very creative. They were loved by John Lennon, they were loved by Frank Zappa. What more can you say, you know? And even if you can find the TV series someplace and want to watch it and you haven't ever seen it, I think you'll find that it was definitely the granddaddy of music video. And funny stuff done by 4 great guys, and sadly we lost one. And to the rest of us, stranded here on Earth still, we shall see you next time, and thanks a lot for watching, and until then, take care.